So we're talking. It's gonna be Nicole and Paul. Paul's the drummer.
Cool.
Nicole plays guitar, obviously. Well, not obviously. She played bass for
Yeah.
Curse Words.
But she plays guitar for Accidents, who
Yeah.
are a great band.
All right, I'm gonna let them in. Nicole's here. So,
Hey, buddy, how are you?
hey, how you doing?
Doing well. Nice to see you.
You too.
What's up?
Yo, how
Good.
are you, man?
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Nice to see you.
Actually, you as well.
Thank you.
See, I'm the new guy here. Everyone else knows everybody.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just
Yeah, that's
start
what you
wheeling it
get
up
for
over
like
here.
not coming out, Paul.
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you know.
you got a lot of ground to make up, Paul.
All right, well, start the clock. I'm a quick study. I'll pack it up.
Back it up.
But new Accidents album, huh?
Yeah, no, it's only took us what, 6 years since we started recording it. You know, there was a global pandemic in between. You know, a couple
Yeah.
spanning like three different presidential administrations. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I became a fan, so I'm stoked to hear it because I met Nicole for the first time when she was playing with Curse Words,
Yep.
and then like somebody told me they were like, yeah, she was in that Accidents band, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember like seeing stuff from them around or whatever, and so I had gone back and like checked out your catalog and was like, oh, why am I not listening to this band?
Oh, that's great to hear, man. That you know fills me with a sense of pride. I am proud of the music that we made over our careers. You know, we've all put together. We've just always done EPs before because we like our whole mentality was like leave them wanting more. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
when we were starting out, we were playing like 45-minute sets, and like fill an hour. Like
Yeah.
take a set break. And at some point, our bass player Dan made the observation. He goes, hey, if you do like a tight 30 and like leave, everyone's like, oh man, there was like,
Yeah.
where'd they go? And so
Yeah, we coined, not we. When I was in the band Collider, we coined the phrase 7 song superset, and I was like, anything over 7 songs is too many songs.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was. I was talking to Joe Queer about this because my band recorded with him last year, and one of my favorite quotes ever was from, I think it was Johnny Ramone. It might have been Dee Dee. One of the Ramones was like, "Look, play your 5 or 6 best songs, and then get the fuck off the stage."
Yeah.
Like, and it's like when it comes to punk rock, leave them wanting more.
Yeah.
If you're playing proper punk rock and every song's a minute and 30 seconds, that's like 15 songs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know this very well. I come from a
Yeah.
band that our average length in song is a minute and 42 seconds.
And
There you
that's
go.
all you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both our LPs are played at 7-inch speed. It's true. True story.
Yo, girl, it's 33.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for doing this, guys. So, all right, we have Nicole and Paul from Accidents. Nicole, the guitarist, Paul, the drummer, correct?
Yep.
That is correct.
So, just give us a brief intro. Was that a cat that I just heard?
Yeah, my cat is
I
50
hope.
years old and she screams at me.
Okay,
So you're gonna hear her.
that's
She
fine.
has food,
It's okay.
she has water. She's just staring daggers at me right now.
We've historically had loud animals on this show.
Yeah. Ron used to have a dog that we called Ric Flair because when he barks, that's how he would bark. He goes, woo!
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah. Yep.
Rest in peace, Ric Flair.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Ric Flair. Yeah.
Horse left for your homies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Nicole, you've been on the show before, but let's pretend you haven't because
Sure.
it's been a while, and it's been a while. We've been spotty ourselves on shows, but so let's give a quick intro, like where are you currently living and where are you from, and just give a background on yourself real quick.
Just me.
Yeah, just you for now.
Cool. I'm Nicole. I'm the guitar player in Accidents. I'm from Alexandria, Virginia. Currently in Arlington, Virginia, which is right outside of DC.
Wow, that's a long move.
Yeah, right.
That's a lot.
15 minutes away, homies.
I mean,
15
technically,
minutes.
Alexandria's in Arlington. Technically.
Nah. I disassociate myself now.
And how did you first get into punk rock?
Oh, that's okay. So, I first got into punk rock when I was in high school, and typical story. You start dating someone and you get into their interests. And as a 15-year-old in high school, and you meet a cute guy that has a mohawk, and you say, that guy's really cool. And then he showed me all the music he liked, which was Bad Religion and NoFX and Pennywise and all the classics. So, and it was great because I was really into the music, and I started taking guitar lessons at that time. So I was learning how to play punk because that's what I was into. So I just became essentially a power chord goddess. But anyhow,
Nice.
that was the late 90s, early 2000s when I was a, mid-teenager, and we had this club in DC where Nats Park is now, called Nation.
Hell yeah.
And they
You
had
know it
these
very well.
matinees on Sundays for like $8. You got to go and see like 9 bands. And recently my parents had moved out, not recently, about 6 years ago. I was going through all my old ticket stubs, and the stuff from Nation was like, Good Riddance, Bouncing Souls, Anti-Flag, and Guest. And Guest would be Rise Against. It'd be an absurd amount of cool bands, and I'd be able to pay my weekly allowance to go see them. And my mom was always chill, so she'd like drop me and my friends off with McDonald's and be like, I'll be back in 3 hours.
Nice.
Yeah, it was super cool.
Yeah, I'm so old that I remember when it was the Capitol Ballroom.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah.
And it was a rough, nothing.
That neighborhood was
nothing like the
crazy.
neighborhood is now. It was.
Oh no, it's way too pretentious now. But it was crazy then.
Yeah, it was crazy.
The fact that they had matinees was the only reason I was allowed to go.
Right, and then they would have like an early punk show, and then they would have like a rave.
Yeah, they do a rave or like a EDM show.
Yeah.
Yep. Buzz would be afterwards. Yeah.
Yeah. Buzz, yeah.
God, I missed this. That was such a good time.
Do you remember parking on the street up there, and like all the bums would immediately come up to you and ask you like
for $1?
Like, give me $5 and I'll watch your car.
There was a Wendy's right there too.
Yeah. Yep.
Yes, that Wendy's was choice.
Yeah.
We would always get so like worried that because we wouldn't give the bums money when they'd ask us to watch their car, and we'd always get worried that they were gonna like fuck somebody's car up or something like that.
Yeah.
So my friend James devised this plan that when we get out of the car, somebody would just have to run up to the bum who was coming up to the car to ask for money and say, "Hey man, it's an emergency. I need a quarter to make a phone call. Please help." And they would always give a quarter to us, and then they would just move on.
That's awesome.
And it worked like a charm. It was awesome.
We always gave money, so yeah.
Well, we were broke teenagers, so we didn't have $5.
Yeah. That was crazy times, man. Capitol Ballroom to Nation. I remember like getting out, like punk shows would end around 11, and you'd be walking out, and they'd be always like, I say freaks, but they probably thought the same about us leaving, like with like pacifiers and like,
Yeah, they were, tripping on Molly.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the fashion was insanely different.
Yeah, totally. It was
We're
fun.
coming
It
out
was
with
a funny
like
mix.
the sleeveless shirts and everything in black, and they're so glammed up.
Yeah.
It was very different vibes. Imagine the staff having to clean up after like the punk show, getting ready for the EDM show.
Either way, the floor is going to be sticky. I guarantee it.
Totally.
It was. I think I lost a pair of shoes there.
Paul, what about you? Where are you from originally, and how did you get into punk?
So I grew up in Springfield, Virginia.
Oh, that's where I work, actually.
Later in life, I moved to Vienna, Virginia. It took me about 30 years, but I made it from the end of the blue line to the end of the orange line. So, Nicole and I actually went to the same middle school and sat at the same lunch table, if you can believe that. That comes into play later in the story. But in high school, I was totally into metal. That was my thing. And I worked at Mars Music in Springfield in the drum department and got exposure to a whole bunch of different music that people would. And there was one guy in there that would put on like Iggy Pop, Stooges, type stuff, like the old school material, and Ramones, obviously. And I would hear it, I would like it, and I'm like, well, it goes fast. So does metal. That's right. I mean, they're cousins. They're cousins, right?
Yeah.
And I would go to shows at Jack's, which was the same thing. You pay $5, you get a grab bag of different genres and different levels of quality and stick to the floor and do drugs in the bathroom
Yeah.
like I didn't because I'm a good kid, but
Yeah.
and everyone else was ODing and on heroin.
Yep.
It was rough. But then I really only got into punk when Coley reached out to me on Facebook, and I was like, who are you? I've never seen you before in my life." And she says, "We used to sit at the same lunch table in middle school." And I was like, "I'll take your word for it." She's like, "I signed your yearbook," and so I went back to my parents' house.
I remember everything. It's annoying
Yeah, well, she was right.
for
Is the
other
point.
people.
So anyway, she wanted me to temp in this band that she was playing with called the Drunken Banshees, and I was like, "Oh, geez, I got to get hip on what punk is all about, especially sort of like that newer stuff like the Dropkick Murphys type
Yeah.
Irish punk." And in any event, we ended up starting our own thing, which became Accidents. And she even said to me, I was like, I don't know if I get it. Like I don't know these bands you're always telling me about.
Yeah.
And she goes, "No, you just bring the metal influence to it and play fast and it'll work out." And it did. But
Yeah.
along the way, I've picked up all these deep cuts that are deeper than the Tony Hawk Pro Skater soundtrack. But it was a
Nice.
good place to start because I mean that soundtrack can't be beat.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah, coming from metal too, like punk rock is like the untalented cousin of metal.
Yeah.
So you started up here and you just had to perform in a punk band, so that's nice.
I mean, like, no one cares if you're doing like all this creative stuff, if the energy is right. Like that's
Right.
the thing about like bands like Slayer. Their drummer's great, but the real reason you listen to Slayer is because it makes you want to headbutt somebody.
Yeah.
And when punk does it right, same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you a question that I wasn't going to ask this evening, but I was recently, so I'm not a metal person at all. But I recently, for some reason, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to get into Slayer. So if you were
Yeah.
to give me an album, where should I start with Slayer?
Okay. So I think the most accessible album is going for you is going to be South of Heaven.
Okay.
It's what the metalheads would tell you. It's like, oh, that's where they took a step back. They weren't, and like the songs weren't about the devil. I'm like, are you sure? The album's called South of Heaven. I'm going to disagree with you on that one. But it's still got the attitude, the chugging guitars, the thunderous drums, but it's not relentless the way that if you go back to Rain and Blood, where you get the album like the Angel of Death and like all those hard hitting Raining Blood, obviously
Yeah.
just the quintessential relentless tracks. Like South of Heaven has a little bit more nuance and it's a little easier way to get into it.
Okay.
And, also, Ron, just since we're talking about punk rock and Slayer here, Slayer does have a punk rock cover album, or I shouldn't say punk rock. It's like all old school punk songs, and there's some other covers on there as well. But it's called Undisputed Attitude.
Okay.
You definitely need to listen to that. It's rad.
Cool.
I mean, also they're pretty thrashy, and thrash is not
Yeah.
that far from hardcore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The vibe is there.
Yeah, I love hardcore, and I love Rich Kids on LSD, who was like one of the, original West Coast thrashy bands.
Yeah.
And I know that they're a big Slayer fan, so I was like, maybe I should finally start listening to this band at the age of 47.
Also,
And now that they're retired too.
yeah.
You'll never see them.
I know.
ever.
I know.
Yeah.
Also, Ron, make sure you jot down "God Hates Us All." That is a very
Yes, Queen.
punk. It's a new. It was like early 2000s, and it's like better produced than their older stuff, and it's like a very punk friendly Slayer album.
Well,
When
it came out was
Yeah.
September 11th, 2001.
Oh
I
yeah,
heard
that's right.
when
It
I was
did.
reading about it, I heard about that. Yeah, that
It
it came
was the
out.
most viral marketing
That's right.
strategy you've ever seen.
Crazy.
But yeah, that's a great album. You'll like that one a lot. I know that for a fact.
All right, cool. There we go. We talked about Slayer tonight, which I wasn't expecting to do. That's cool.
I'll talk about Slayer more on this podcast. I love Slayer.
Change the motif.
Yeah. Yeah. So Matt, it's been a while since. Man, when was the last time we had a band on the podcast, Matt? It's been a long time.
It has. I don't even know. To be
Yeah, you
honest
have to
with
excuse my interview chops tonight. I'm kind of choppy and all over the place. So, Um, how did accidents originally form, and
So,
when? Because I know it's been a while. I know there's a long time between this album and the last one.
well, I think the band, if memory serves me correctly, I believe we formed in 2010.
No, 2009. It
Ah,
was,
see?
yeah. Well, so I mean, when Nicole and I started jamming on our own, it was 2009.
Okay.
Then we
The
added,
band had not formed. I believe our first show was May of 2010, the following
yes,
year.
that's right.
Yes, that is the official date. It's like when you start like hanging out with someone, but you don't officially start dating. You don't
Yeah.
out where you started hanging out. It's when you announce that you are together.
Okay.
So yeah, May of 2010.
So you start jamming in '09. You play
Yes.
your first show in 10.
Yes. So I was playing I was playing in like an oi punk band called Drunken Banshees, and we broke up. And then I was joining another band called Breaking Even, which was kind of more of a hardcore front. It was actually kind of more like early Bad Religion.
Okay.
And the drummer joined the army. So this I like the songs, and I was like, oh, me and the other guy, maybe we can keep playing. I'll just find a drummer. Paul, I knew played the drums. And Paul, what was the name of the band you were in at the time?
I was in a hipster band called Kashgar.
Kashgar, right.
Nice.
So I was like, oh, Paul, can you help me out and sit in while like we do this? And he said, sure. But then the guy that was writing the songs in Breaking Even said, or I'm sorry, it wasn't Breaking Even, it was Getting Even. He's like, my girlfriend moved away, I'm moving too. I was like, whatever. So I was starting to write my own music. And so I was like, hey, Paul, do you mind just sitting with me and workshopping as I start writing out these songs? And I didn't want to take up too much of his time because I knew he was in another band. But eventually he's just like, I like what we're doing. Let's just keep hanging out, see what's what. Great. And then I had met our bass player at a bar. He was a bouncer. And I was just waxing idiotic and saying that, hey, I was starting a band. It's a punk band. He said, I play the bass. I'm in no projects. And I said, cool, come hang out. And that's where we met Dan. And then we found Andrew, the original lead guitar player, on Craigslist. And we were having a hell of a time trying to find a singer. We auditioned a couple of people. Nothing was working out. And John, who is our lead singer, was one of my best friends from high school. He had been in the army. And I was just telling him about the new project. And he's like, hey, I'm getting out soon. Can I sing? And I said, of
I
course.
don't know, can you?
I was like, it was funny because like I knew this guy could sing, and he was in a band when we were in high school, and I always thought he was great. And so I told the rest of the guys, I was like, oh, we don't have to worry about auditioning singers. My friend's coming back from the army, and they said, are we auditioning him? And I was like, we don't need to.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
We're done.
So,
We got
so
it.
this is and we have our show booked, right? So it's on the calendar, and the rest of us who are actual professionals,
Are we?
no, yeah, he says loosely. I'm like, I don't know about this. The first time I met John was when we were doing promo photos. He showed up and he's like wearing a vest and like like a little hat thing, and I was like, oh, are you the photographer? He goes, no, I'm the fucking singer. And I was like, oh, all right, well, this is going great. You know.
Oh yeah,
That's
he
awesome.
was decked out. I remember because the photos were at this old bar in actually it was at the Light Horse in Old Town Alexandria. So it was like around this pool table, and we're wearing hoodies and jeans, and John shows up to meet everyone for the first time, decked out in like a three-piece suit.
Nice.
We're like, all right, that works. You are the lead singer. You're supposed to be extra.
Yeah, totally. That's awesome. So you had a show booked without a singer.
No, I kind of I knew
Like,
this.
what was your plan B?
No, he had agreed to join the band, and we had been writing songs for a while. So I think we had like 5 or 6 that were performance ready on the instrument end. So bringing a singer in, and again, I knew John from high school, and he's very good at kind of just making up a melody on the fly.
Yeah.
And if we're not recording it and no one knows our music, who cares what the words are?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just needs to be something that sounds cool. And they're like, oh, that guy can sing.
That actually
We'll come back to that later.
that actually, yeah. I was going to say that continues in throughout our early, well, for a long time.
That's mostly singers.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
but well, I know that we've rehearsed with lyrics so many times, and then we've gotten to the show, and he goes, "Just follow me," and I'm like, "What does that mean?" And then what comes out of his mouth is completely different. Like
Yeah.
the key is like it's different. Now he's got like 6 words where there used to be one because it's now like one of those fast hitting songs.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, John, you're lucky we practiced this. Like,
That's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, it's I've told this story before, but like the first band I was in back in like the mid to late '90s, this 3-piece pop punk band called Shorty. Our guitar, I was the bass player, and our guitarist was the singer. And we played shows we probably played like 10 to 20 shows before we actually went into the studio. And the first time we're in the studio, I remember like we laid down the instrument tracks, and it was time for him to sing, and he's sitting in the kitchen of the studio, and he's got this notebook, and he's like writing, he's like stressed out, he's like writing the shit down in this notebook. And I'm like, Jeff, what are you doing? He's like, I'm writing lyrics. I'm like, to what? He's like, to our songs. I'm like, we've played like so many shows. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? He's like, I just sing whatever, and sometimes I just make noises with my mouth. So, dude, we played so many shows without like with him saying who knows what the fuck he was saying. Like, but that's punk rock.
That's the beauty of it. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, that's wild.
It's like, you know, it's like when you go see your favorite bands and you know all their lyrics, but you've had one too many beers and you're just so excited that what comes out of your mouth is gibberish when you're singing a song.
Yeah,
we're doing the same thing.
Yeah, 100%.
We're just there to have a good time.
Yeah,
yeah. It's all just shit that's coming out of your mouth that you want to come out of your mouth.
yeah.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel.
Yeah, so all right, so this new album, it came out March 4th. It's called Year of the Rat. It's on Snubbed by Allegedly, which is my record label with Bree. That's the kind of thing that we kind of merged Snubbed and Allegedly and did this kind of joint thing. And Bree does 99.999%. I mean, I'm basically like the Pope of Snubbed by Allegedly. She hands me music, she's like, "Do you like this?" And I give her the blessing, and then she does her thing. The album's awesome. I love it.
Thank you.
So you say how long? So you said you've been recording it since. Did you start recording it before COVID?
Yes. Yeah. There's an EP that has has 3 of the songs on that record. So we were writing this record for a while. And we had never put out a full length before, so we were really excited that we actually had 8 songs to put on one album.
Yeah.
So we started recording it, and then, you know, at the beginning of COVID, none of us knew what was happening. So we're all, you know, we were supposed to record in 3 weeks. We'll just push it back a month.
Yeah.
And we just kept pushing back the date, and then it just took forever. Eventually, our producer Ben Green at Iva Studios in Washington D.C. It's like, if you guys want to come in, like, you know, one at a time, I can isolate you in a different room, and we can get work done, which we kind of did for a bit, but it's hard when you're, like, these songs were written and we performed them, but when you're in the studio, you know, you're really picking things apart. You want everyone there to give feedback.
Totally.
Yeah. Otherwise, you go in, you record something, it gets emailed back to you, people disagree, and it just costs everyone time and money. So we wanted the organic feeling of all being there and listening and giving feedback and praise and criticism to make, you know, it our record and not just something we were forced to put out. So yeah. It took a second.
Yeah.
No, second, yeah. Putting it lightly.
Awesome. How's that studio? What's that studio like?
It's the best one.
Is it good?
100%. If you guys want to go there,
where in DC is it?
Capitol Hill.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's great. Ben Green was in the band Fairweather, who I was obsessed with in high school. So I was so excited to work with him on this. Nice. And he's such a nice guy, and he's a great producer, And what I like about him is he gives you really good feedback. And over time, as he gets to know you, like if you play something, he'll like turn to you. He's like, "I know you can play that better.
Yeah.
Well, sit here until you can do it." And it's just, it's nice to have that support.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
And, if I have to say one negative thing about Ben is that he sometimes lets us get away with our own stupidity,
Yeah.
like a little too much. Like he gave us maybe a little too much leash a couple of times.
Okay.
Well, yeah, he's silly and we're silly, and silly meeting silly is.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, silly wants to try the silly idea. It's your friend who's like, I bet you can jump over that, and you say, "Hold my beer." Like it's the enablement, right? And then later you're like, "How the fuck did you let me do that?" Like, dude, it seemed like I thought you could make it. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. What's up, everyone? Ron here. I got a favor to ask you guys. Friend of the show, past guest, rapper, and adult film star Tef Wesley needs your help. He was nominated for Male Performer of the Year. So head over to altporn.net. That's altporn.net. Or just click on the link that's at the bottom of this podcast. Click on All-Star Awards and then scroll down for Male Performer. Click that button next to Tef Wesley so he can win that award for slinging that D. You know what I'm saying? Thank you so much. Now, back to the show. Are you guys playing any shows coming up?
Yeah, so we booked only one show. So John, our lead singer, moved to Nags Head, North Carolina, so that's pretty far away.
Yeah.
And my husband Robert played lead guitar on the album, but is not technically in the band. So, members are here and there. Yeah, so kind of coordinating or producing, actually having a show with everyone is very hard to do.
Yeah.
Our bass player Dan actually found the time between when we started recording the record and when it came out to have 2 kids.
Because it's so hard for men.
Yeah, well,
it's a lot of work.
Yeah,
I mean, to hear him tell it,
Yeah.
it's he's never worked harder in his life.
Sucks.
No, so September 5th at Pearl Street Warehouse.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, at the Wharf in DC. It is we used to do this show called Friend Fest, and it's accidents, brace face, and curse words. So we're bringing that lineup back. So it's gonna be really fun, and it's gonna be the album release party for us because things happen and the dates kept getting pushed back, and we're finally getting to rehearse together again. So yeah, I was giving us a decent amount of time to get everything sorted, so it would be a really good show in case this might be our last one. I don't want to, play the worst I've ever played. So
Yeah.
just trying to hit all the marks.
Have you ever played there before? Or is that a newer venue? Because we're playing there in August.
Oh, I've never played there before, but I
Okay.
go there a lot.
Oh, you've been there. Okay.
Yeah, it's really nice.
I've only seen pictures, but I know that the talent buyer, the new talent buyer there is.
Zishan?
Yeah, so he was a talent buyer at Pie Shop,
Shop.
so I've dealt with him for years.
Zishan's the best, dude.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah.
That guy's great.
Yeah.
My husband's band Milo and the Doldrums, they play there a lot.
Oh, cool.
And it's really it's a nice stage. It's a decent floor room. But what's cool about in the warmer weather, they have it's on the strip of the wharf, but they open this awning. So if you're just walking by, you can grab a beer and hang out outside and still see the bands.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's really good for foot traffic.
Nice. That's good. Good to know. All right, so we'll play if it's cool with you guys. We'll play 2 songs from the record.
Okay.
We'll play one song now, and then I'll close the podcast with another song.
Okay.
Which 2 songs would you like us to play, and talk about one of them that we'll play right now, or after you're done talking about that song.
What do you think, Paul?
So I want to play I'm Sorry the Card Says Moops.
I do like that song.
Yeah, the last track on the record.
A good name.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
So we started because the lyrics to our songs changed so many times unofficially. It didn't matter what we called the songs. So we started naming our songs after quotes from stupid comedies, you know, well, our
Yeah,
big
we essentially took the Fallout Boy route of like naming
yeah.
our songs, just elaborate bullshit.
So like our biggest hit previously or biggest single was called There's Always Money in the Banana Stand. And so people would be like, yo, play that Arrested Development song. And we'd be like, yeah, we know what you mean.
Yeah.
And you know, roll with it. But no, so this one, I'm sorry, but the card says Moops, is a little bit more experimental, I guess, or like it
Oh
doesn't.
no, like when I was writing that one, I was listening to a lot of 4 Year Strong. So I was taking the
Okay.
format of not of the easy core route, or also the hardcore route where sections don't repeat. So the only thing bringing it back is the chorus, which I thought was very interesting. So I was just kind of like writing sections within the movement so it would change rhythmically. And I think that was kind of selfish on my part because it was just more fun to play. But luckily, I feel like the melodic information like floats through the song pretty well.
Cool.
That's my own bias. I've listened to it 8 million times, and sometimes I'm just like, God, you're so stupid. This doesn't make any sense. But other times I'm like, no, 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 it's there. You can follow the story.
I can't stay with you till you leave. I don't put much faith in your discoveries. You're like a door within a lock or key, swinging open so effortlessly. I can't stay with you till I'm dead and full state. You fill it up just to pour it out. And I know that you'll be coming back in a couple of days. We can hang in the quiet sound. And if it's important to you not to have it in writing, that's why I'm writing it all down. I'm down like the cruiser, I won't sail the ship. I've cut the anchor, we're going adrift. It's time to sink or swim. Swim. Or just stay afloat. Swim. Until I'm dead in a breakneck pace. You fill it up just to pour it out. And I know that you'll be coming back in a couple of days. We can hang in the quiet sound. And if it's important to you not to have it in writing, that's why I'm writing it all down. We had the sky up there, all speckled with stars. And we wondered if they were made or if they only just happened. Alright, I'll go to hell when right is right and wrong is wrong. You spread it thin just to wear it out. And I know that you'll be going away for a couple of days with the bar silver and the arms still lie. And if it's important to you not to get it in writing, that's why I'm writing it all down.
So what I like about it is that it's got a lot of unison parts. Like there where, you know, the bass player and the drums are really locked in with the strumming patterns and
Nice.
you know, you'll hear in like the breakdown, like the with the gang vocals in the background, like there's a lot of it's like it's extra special to me that it's so cohesive while simultaneously being not repeating anything, not giving you the
Gotcha.
same
Yeah.
information. It's just we're all locked in doing the same thing and taking you along for the ride. So
Nice. So you're playing with curse words, so everything's cool with you and curse words, yeah? Like I didn't know how that ended with
Oh no, no,
you.
no, no, no.
Yeah.
So like Aaron, the original bass player, wanted to come back.
Right. Yeah, I heard that. Yeah.
And it was their 10-year anniversary, and like I say we. I was not in the band long enough for me to be considered we. I was there for a year, right?
Oh, was it only a year? You were only there
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
year?
I was only there
Oh,
for
I
a
didn't
year.
know that. Okay.
I was like, no, because Accidents and Curse Words played all the time, so we're always
Right.
buddies.
Yeah.
Um, but no, they were offered Fest, and Aaron kept coming to like practices and shows, and I was just like, I was like, the guy wants to be back in the band. It's not my place to play Fest when he's an original member and left for work. And
Right.
then like, hey, he wants to come back, and I was like, I'm actually really relieved.
Gotcha. I wonder if he would have
Yeah.
wanted to come back if they did not get Fest.
Oh, I don't know. I never questioned it.
That's
Well, he probably would.
conspiracy theory.
He's
I'm just kidding.
No,
You
we're-
guys are all rad. I love all you guys.
Yeah, we're still boys.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're the nicest people. I love
Oh
them.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just actually saw them in Alexandria the other night because
Dude, I was so mad that I missed that. I
Yeah.
recently got into New Junk City like 3 weeks ago, and I'm
So good.
obsessed with them.
yeah.
So I saw that they were playing, and I was like, sick. I get to go see them. And I was going out of town for my friend's birthday that morning. So I was like, "Grr."
Yeah, we've
Like,
had them
that
on
was a
here
really
twice.
good lineup.
Yeah, it was. It was a great show too, and that little art gallery place, aside from the fact that their AC sucked, was pretty cool.
Yeah.
The artwork there is very expensive. The wall behind where the band plays is apparently all like photography and artwork that people in the band Devo have done.
Dude, are you guys going to go see Devo at Anthem?
When is that?
I think like in 2 weeks.
I've heard about it. I won't be there, unfortunately, but I would love to.
I want to go. I want to go so hard. I
Paul,
love
when did you start playing drums, Paul?
So I started in like the 6th grade in the school band.
Nice.
My mom had forced me to take piano lessons for a year in the 3rd grade. Hated it. Quit on the 365th day. Filled my name and said but then like she won the war because it planted the seed in my head. Like I like making music, wrong instrument. So I moved, like I was like, I'm going to go as far away from piano as I can. I'm going to play the drums. And so then I show up on the first day of school band class, like, wait, you can read music? Get on that xylophone. I'm like, oh man, this is just hitting a piano with mallets. But you know what?
playing the drums is also playing the
Percussion.
piano.
Yeah.
Percussion.
I only figured that out later, Coley, but my plan was to, anyway, so then in about the 8th grade, I started play. I finally convinced my parents I was going to stick with it, right? So then I got the drum set, and then I got a really good drum teacher. It was a guy named Jim Richmond, who's sort of DC rock and roll royalty. He played in Malefice.
Oh, nice.
Back in the day, death metal band called Modulus too.
Cool.
His son Tommy Richmond had the #1 hit a couple summers ago, $1 Million Baby.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So anyway, I was studying with him, and then when I got to high school, my band director was a total dick and totally killed my love of playing in a
Oh,
band,
that sucks.
playing like school band.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was okay because I could fall back on drum set. And there was this annoying guy on my bus, and I was trying to shut him up, and I was like, "Yeah, I'm starting a band. We just need a bass player." He's like, "Oh, I'm learning bass." I was like, "Shit." So he's actually now one of my best friends. I emceed his wedding. It was we're cool
Oh,
now.
cool.
Story.
Nice. Yeah.
But he ended up playing in all my bands through high school, and we grew as musicians together, and that sort of and shaped my experience. And he was my show buddy in high school. We went to all the shows at Jack's, and I went to one show at Nation, was Judas Priest with Anthrax opening.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so that was a good time.
Damn, that was at Nation?
That was at Nation, yeah.
Wow. When was that?
That was 2001. So incidentally, I actually did an interview with the drummer Scott Travis of Judas Priest before the show at the hotel, and he got us backstage passes. And so this is literally the greatest thing that could have possibly happened to a 16-year-old kid.
Hell yeah.
Scott Travis was a huge influence early on to my playing too. So I heard the Painkiller record for the first time, and I was like, "Oh my God, you can do that on this instrument! This is incredible."
Wow, that's
It's a
fucking
great
rad.
record.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Trev from the Struggling Artist Podcast, and I want to talk to you real quick about Struggling Artist Record Club. The Struggling Artist Record Club is a vinyl record subscription service where I hunt and curate the best punk and punk adjacent music out there and mail their record to your door each and every month. Imagine finding your new favorite band from across the country without ever having to leave the house. It doesn't get much better than that. The excitement of discovering new music just got that much easier. As a member of the Struggling Artist Record Club, you are going to receive some of the best music you've ever heard from bands you may never even heard of. Whether you've been collecting records for years or just starting out, the Struggling Artist Record Club is designed specifically for you. And right now, all new members get a Struggling Artist Record Club exclusive along with the monthly selection. So head to StrugglingArtistRecordClub.com, pick a membership, and start building that collection today.
Nicole, when did you start playing music?
So I took piano lessons as a kid.
It always starts with the piano.
Well, my parents, we had, a living room that you don't sit in when I grew up. I'm sure
Like
a lot of people
a proper living room.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the no-no room. The no-no room.
We had the family room, which
Yeah.
was for TV, and then we had a living room where no one went in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there was a baby grand piano in there because those look really pretty. So I guess at some point my mom was like, we have this beautiful instrument, send the kids off to piano lessons. So I was 8 then, and I didn't really like practicing, so that didn't stick very well. And then I got a guitar when I was 13, and I started taking lessons at 15. And I really liked my teacher. His name was Mark Albert, and like really into the blues and like punk rock. So he was just a really good guidance. Like really looked forward to my lessons every week. But it was, just something. It was, I had 8,000 hobbies then. I have 8,000 hobbies now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just like on Mondays I went to guitar lessons. It wasn't anything I was really considering as anything. It was just something I did. And I kept playing. I really like music. I like to listen to music. And so like just playing was fun. I didn't start playing in bands till I was 25 because I got a corporate job, and corporate life takes its toll on you at that age. So you need to have an outlet to play something heavy. So yeah, that's when I started.
Cool.
Yeah.
What is the second song you want us to play to close the podcast with?
So let's go with let's do Feed the Scene, because that's
Okay.
about Feed the Scene in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And that was originally going to be the single. But as plans do, everything fell apart to record that music video, so we just scrapped that. But I think that's the catchiest song on the record.
Cool. Yeah, that's a good one. All right, we're going to segue into these weird questions that we ask all of our guests.
No, these are not weird questions. They're amazing questions.
The best questions. Okay. Nicole, you first. I think you've answered these before, but let's bring them up again.
Stoked to do it again.
Yeah. If you were on death row, what would your final meal be? And Paul, you get to think about it while she. Assuming you can get anything you want.
Here's the thing. So I've been a pescatarian for almost a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And, you still I miss meat. I
Yeah.
do. And I also stopped eating pork way before that. But as a child, my favorite meal was my mom's fried pork chops with cooked apples and broccoli.
Nice.
I would love to eat that again, but also not feel the guilt.
Well, you'd only feel it for a few minutes, I guess.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right, so
fried pork chops.
Fried pork chops with apples and broccoli.
Yep.
I think that's the first time broccoli has made it into the answer of the final meal question.
Broccoli is delicious.
It is delicious, but I believe you're right, Ron.
I beg to differ with both of you, but I'll take it. So, okay.
I'm on your side.
You just haven't had it cooked.
Yeah, Paul doesn't eat vegetables.
Yeah, it's a waste of calories. I don't.
Yeah. I love spinach, but broccoli, I have to dump tons of dressing on it, and then you're not really eating broccoli at that point anyway.
I feel like I need to cook it for you. You haven't had it prepared correctly for you.
All right.
I agree, Nicole, 100%. Like,
Yeah, broccoli's
yeah,
great.
it is. It is.
So good. I might just whip some up after.
Yeah.
Gonna cut back to her and she's just snacking on a bowl.
Yeah, yeah, just eating a whole
It's
stalk.
just all in my teeth.
Yeah. All right, Paul, you're on death row. You have one last meal.
So I'm
What do
gonna
you
go because obviously there's no guilt, no indigestion to
Right.
suffer from it. I'm gonna get the biggest, greasiest chicken parmesan
Fuck yeah.
you've ever seen in your life. Like I'm talking New Jersey diner style where it takes up like 2.5 plates just to fit on there with the spaghetti.
So you're going Parmesan dinner with spaghetti, not sandwich.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Yep,
Gotcha.
yep.
You're pulling on Ron's heartstrings
Correct.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's
Hell
full
yeah.
blown Italian. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
loving every
Love
second
it.
of hearing
Love
that.
it. I might prefer an eggplant Parmesan but chicken
Oh, you
Parmesan.
should have my eggplant parmesan.
All right, I should.
Come over. What
Yeah.
are you doing now?
Broccoli, yeah, chicken Parmesan or eggplant and broccoli.
Yeah, I make really good eggplant parmesan.
I'd be like, nah, just give me the chair now. I'm good.
Just, yeah.
Eat your vegetables, bitch.
Second question. This is a newer question, so Nicole, I don't think you answered this one. What is your favorite cereal?
Oh, Captain Crunch.
Which just the original?
OG.
Okay.
Mm.
Eyebrows on the hat, which makes no
Hell yeah.
sense. Yeah, we grew up with I never ate breakfast as a kid because I was never hungry that early, and I'm still that way. But parents are like, you have to eat before going to school. So my mom would like pour a bowl of that and bring out like a plate of bacon. So bacon and Captain Crunch is a very, very delicious combination.
Nice.
What they wheel
But
out in the
still, it's like
commercial.
I'm gonna throw up. Thanks, Mom.
Do you
All part of
pour
this-
the cereal in the bowl first, or are you a freak and put the milk in the bowl first?
Who does that?
People do it.
Yeah.
You're a liar.
People
No,
do
people
it.
do it.
No.
Okay, good.
Serial killers. Do it. Oh, serial killers. Sorry, I hated that.
Paul, what's your favorite cereal?
No, she took the only answer. It's Captain Crunch. OG
Yeah, it's the best.
OG Crunch. Like every once in a while, I'll be like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna go to the peanut butter crunch or the crunch berries, and then after 2 bowls, you're like, nah, I'm gonna go back.
Cool.
Like,
cool.
that's it.
We
right.
we voted that the sharpest cereal on here a while ago.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Oh yeah, it
cuts,
does cut your mouth.
cuts your gums
Yeah.
apart.
It'll tear your mouth right up.
The pain
You
is
gotta be
worth
careful.
it.
Yeah, totally worth it.
Cool. I love your answer, and I love that it's the same answer, but the correct answer was Fruity Pebbles. All right, let's go to the third.
Right.
Man, that's just like aquarium gravel. I'm not knocking it or
Yeah.
aquarium gravel, but like,
But if you made the Rice Krispie treats with the Fruity Pebbles,
yeah, okay, that's a
that is
different.
the best thing in the world.
I've
That's a
never had
different
that
story.
actually.
I have to make so much food for you.
There you go. I know. I have so far. There's 3 courses ready for me. All right. So this third question is a little more difficult. So they actually do this now. This is science. We're really big into science on Our Brains Hurt. So if you die and decide to be cremated, they could take your ashes and form it into a vinyl record. If you were going to have your ashes eternalized in a record of your choice, it has to be one that exists. You can't make something up of like your favorite songs. Which album would you choose to have your ashes formed into?
Check Your Head, Beastie Boys.
Nice.
Good answer.
Good answer.
Great album. Great album.
The best.
Yeah, it's a great one.
That is their best record.
So it's not my favorite, but it's my second favorite one.
What's your first favorite?
Paul's Boutique.
Oh, I mean, okay. So that one has that one's delicious because of all the samples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check Your Head, they recorded the vocals through like a karaoke machine. And I love that sound.
Oh, it's a great
Yeah.
album. It's
So
it's
good.
like
And it's also like, it's so Led Zeppelin. It's such a weird Beastie Boys record.
It is.
Yeah,
Weird,
that-
yeah.
it was actually my favorite for quite a while, and I actually started liking Paul's Boutique more as I got older. Weird.
I
don't
used
know
to
why.
be more Paul's Boutique, and then I recently switched to Check Your Head. But also, what's the one with Intergalactic on it?
Isn't Intergalactic in the title of that album?
Is it?
I think it is. I
That
think.
one I loved when it came out, and I have not listened to it in forever. I listened to it maybe 4 years ago. I forgot how great that one is.
And I should revisit it. It's been a long time.
Like
since I
every
listened
Beastie
Yeah.
Boys album is great.
to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Five
good.
Heroes, like they're amazing. That's
Yeah.
Very-
that's my desert island band.
Nice. I think that's the first. Is that the first Beastie Boys Matt answer on this show? For that?
Yes, yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
it is.
win.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah.
I'm surprised actually, but yeah, it is.
I'm a licensed to ill guy myself, but they're all
Well,
great.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
such a that's a classic.
Yeah.
But again, they're all great.
Yeah. Totally.
I think it is, Ron. Actually, I think maybe though we're wrong. I think somebody might have also said check your head at one point.
I think it was me.
Sounds familiar. It might have been
I-
you.
you know
it
what?
might have been you.
I think it
The
was
last
you.
time you asked me
Yeah.
this question.
I think it was.
Points for consistency.
Yeah.
right?
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love
Love
that
it.
record.
So we knew you. We now know you weren't bullshitting us. So that's cool. All right, Paul. Same question. Your
So-
ashes eternalized.
I gave it away earlier when I said Judas Priest's Painkiller record was the one that
Nice.
changed my understanding of what drums could be, and it's got such an over the top 80s glam sound, plus Rob Halford and the leather on the motorcycle, and it's quintessential, and it came out in 91, and you know how that story ends. Everything goes to flannel and denim after that.
Right.
And so it's kind of like the last hurrah of that archetype kind of
Did
coming
you,
out. And
did you know that album was their first album with that drummer?
Yep.
And that dude, that drummer, is from Virginia, actually.
So I mentioned before that I worked at Mars Music in Springfield
Yeah.
in high school. Scott Travis worked at Mars Music in Virginia Beach. And every once in a while, I'd call them up and pretend to order something transferred from their store, and be able Scott and drums. I'd be like,
Yeah.
do you have any Pearl export kit? No, man. We don't. Oh, okay, never mind. Click.
Sorry,
Um,
sorry to bother you.
yeah.
That's cool.
That's awesome. Hell yeah. All right. Next question is: who is on your Mount Rushmore of punk rock? And you get a crazy horse, so you get 5 people.
And really, it's just your Mount Rushmore of music or whoever you
Yeah.
consider to be punk rock. So I don't think there's any rules here when it comes to this.
Yeah, we've had. I mean, Little Richard has been an answer for people
Yeah.
before, so
And Little
That's
Richard is punk as hell.
he totally
Yes,
was.
he has. Yes,
Yeah.
he has.
Oh, that's a hard question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 people.
Okay, let me think.
But
Take
you've
your
done
time.
it before.
We
so-
edit. Yeah, we
I-
edit. So
So Jay Mascis.
okay,
Who else do I want there? Brian Baker.
nice.
Mhm.
Love that guy.
Yeah.
Who else do I want there? Josh Freese.
Okay,
Amazing.
yeah,
Let's go with MCA, Beastie Boys.
nice.
Yeah. And then our 5th one will be Jello Biafra.
Okay,
Nice.
That's a super group.
that is a solid. Yeah,
Yeah,
hell yeah.
If there ever was one, yes.
Yep.
Polly?
Paul, same question.
All right. So
You
I'm
can take your time.
I'm gonna actually try and go with like punk or punk adjacent folks
Gotcha.
that I have like like attachment to because their music spoke to me, not just because I know them and they are important.
Right.
They are important people because they'll all be brand names. Like I said, we played a lot of Iggy Pop in the Mars Music, and that was like the first exposure that I had to it. I'm going to throw one of the Ramones. I'm going to pick Joey,
Nice.
put him up there. Jello Biafra is another great choice because I love the Dead Kennedys and specifically, like his work with them. And then the last 2 are much more punk adjacent, but I'm going to go with Sting.
Nice.
We talk about
Mhm.
the Police Atlantis to Amore album. That was on heavy rotation where it's like, Next to You, tracks on that,
Yeah.
or even like Can't Stand Losing You, the reggae ones,
Oh, hell yeah.
it was
That album rules.
I know.
love that. Yeah.
it's and I mean Stuart Copeland's drumming is just incredible on it.
Yeah,
And then the last one is Lemmy from Motorhead.
Fuck yeah.
great choice.
I
Can
don't know
never
if
go wrong with a Lemmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had Lemmy before.
we've had Lemmy
Oh,
before.
oh
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
twice I believe, which is weird. I feel like it should be more, but
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Lemmy.
Nicole, I remember things too. It's weird. Yeah,
Yeah.
That's why we get along so well.
but yeah, it's like selective memory is a weird thing.
That's definitely our first Sting, though.
All right, I got one.
Yeah,
I'm pretty. That's
I
our
believe
first.
so.
That's definitely our first thing. As a player of the bass, I appreciate that answer.
Yeah.
And just the fact that his vocals are amazing while he's playing bass is pretty rad. Yeah, that's definitely our first Sting. I can't. I don't know if I say definitely. We've done this for 4.5 years.
I
now,
think
so-
that's correct. Yeah,
but I'm
I
pretty
believe
sure.
that's correct.
I don't
I
think I've
believe
ever
it's
heard Sting before, so that's pretty cool. Very cool. Where can people find you guys on the interwebs and the social medias? Go ahead and plug your band.
Sure. Yeah, so our Instagram is Accidents DC. And then if you click on the profile link from there, you'll get everything else. We're on Facebook, same thing, Accidents DC. Accidents is a very common band name. So putting in that DC brings you to
yeah.
us. And then you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Music. We have a Bandcamp, and that's where you can download the new record.
Crucially, there's a typo in our Bandcamp. It was supposed to say Accidents DC.
It's just Accidents D, which I think is way funnier.
Yes.
Accidents Day. Nice.
You'll never forget it.
Nice. Are there other accidents? There are other bands?
Yeah,
Okay.
there are.
When we started, there weren't. Like it was actually like
so
a
you're
pretty
the OG.
novel
Right.
name.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I don't think that's the truth. Here's the thing. It's like when you start registering your stuff through CD Baby and all that kind of distro stuff, then you realize how many bands have the exact same name you do. It's just that they're not here, right? So you don't know about them. But when you start to register yourself, you realize like 7 other bands that have your band name.
I just
So
remember Googling
that's what the
it.
problem came
Yeah,
in.
Google,
You have to
yeah,
put the DC
yeah.
on everything.
We deal with that. I'm in a band called The Blanks, and there's like 4 or 5 inactive bands called The Blanks, but there's one a cappella group called The Blanks, and every now and then like people will tag us for like a show and they'll accidentally tag the a cappella group. But the dudes are pretty funny. They like, I don't think it's us, like I don't think we're playing that punk rock show.
What's funny about our Facebook page is people will just tag accidents like actual accidents. So it'll be in our profile, it'll be like a car accident, and our band is just tagged in it. I'm like,
That's funny.
that's promo. I'm not gonna take it off.
Great.
You don't
yeah.
even deny that it wasn't
No.
us involved in the accident. We don't
That's-
even
yes,
comment
no,
like,
you
sorry,
didn't.
not us.
There's also a town in Western Maryland called Accident,
Yeah.
Maryland. Yeah.
Accident, Maryland. I've been there many times. My
Yeah.
dad used to live there, actually.
No shit, really? It's right
Yeah.
near Deep Creek. It's like way out there.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
dad lived in Accident for a while. That's true.
That's so funny. Yeah. Awesome. So once again, your show, when is it? It's September 5th.
September 5th, Pearl Street Warehouse with Braceface and curse words for Friend Fest 4.
Nice.
I'm gonna try hard to come to that one.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love to have
I
you.
mean, if I don't see you
Yeah.
show up, I'm gonna be like, show's canceled. We're all leaving.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
I'm-
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully maybe we'll play some shows together in the future. And Matt's band, who's back together.
Yep.
We could have
Coming back.
we could have a crazy threesome show with all of our bands. That'd be awesome.
Oh my god, that'd be so fun.
So cool.
Yes.
Maybe I'll start building that at the pie shop in the fall or something like that.
Yeah, let's talk.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Oh, my
So
cat's
thanks.
coming across the keyboard.
My animals are upstairs whining. I could hear them because the dog, after Ric Flair passed away, we got another dog named Griswold, and we have 2 beagles. And he just, when I come down in the basement, he just sits on the top of the stairs and whines until I get back up there.
I had a beagle as a kid, and their whine is the most heartbreaking thing I've ever.
It is, yeah.
I don't like.
Hang
No.
on. Is his full name Bark Griswold?
It's Clark W. Griswold. Yeah.
No, now it's Bark Griswold.
Yeah, I was like,
Good
stop
job,
W.
Paul.
Yeah. Bark W.
Excellent,
Griswold.
excellent work,
yeah.
Paul. Excellent
Park
work.
Griswold. Damn it! Why? I don't know if my wife and I have ever even thought of that.
Well, that's
You
our
just-
band name is Bark Griswold.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Well, you just gave our show a new mascot since Ric Flair
Yes.
died. So now we got Bart Griswold.
Bart Griswold.
Yep.
Awesome. And we owe it all
You-
to Paul.
Hey,
Yep, Paul, your name is written in infamy into
All right.
stone
Hell yeah.
in OBH lore. Yes.
Yep.
The,
Paul gave us Sting and Bart Griswold. Love it.
the
All
great.
right.
No, you announce him by his proper title, the Great Paul.
Who has now earned a spot on my Mount Rushmore
Yeah.
of punk rock for those answers.
Yeah.
Nicole's gonna hang up in 30 seconds.
Later, nerds. Here we go.
Awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys. This will be out on Sunday. I'll tag you guys with when I post it on Sunday night on all social medias and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and like I said, I'll add those songs in there too and everything like that. So,
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
That was fun.
That was
Awesome.
fun, guys.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks so much.
All
Hope to
right.
see you guys out in the wild soon.
All right.
Oh yeah.
Later, guys.
Yeah, I'll try as hard as I can to come to that show. Also, Paul, very nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Oh, same.
nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Bye, Ron. Bye,
All
Matt.
right. It's later.
See ya.
Bye.
Last night I got loaded in South Baltimore. Your friend went so well with the show. I went so well with the floor. I gathered all of my cool, which historically just isn't much. I asked if you wanted to go for a walk. You said to get started, you catch up. Never caught up, I'm just walking fast. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. Last night I got loaded in East Baltimore. My friends were all there screaming at me. I was screaming back from the floor. You were shout talking to some guy at the bar. I stumbled my way over, spilled your drinks, and you offered to buy me one more. I said, sure, thanks, wow. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. One is silver and the other gold. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. I'm less than three. You less than backslash 3 me. Set face emoji. One is silver and the other gold. A circle is round, it has no end. That's how long I will be your.
How do I do this shit? I can still hear you. So what do I have to press? Close.